Well, it's finally here. The long awaited 3.9 PTU in all its buggy and crashy glory. But there's only one question I want to answer. After you've done the crime, do you really have to do the time? So our adventure begins here at Bert Kreischer Memorial Prison. I'm assuming that's who it's named after. You wake up in your little cell. You've already got a multi-tool equipped. You get out, and one thing you want to know right away is you are in a low-gravity environment. So if you take a lot of these turns around these railings really quickly when you're running down, it's very likely that you can throw yourself more or less, down into the crevasse, and that can kill you from here. But that low gravity environment does let you do some interesting things when you're trying to get around in a hurry, like this. A lot of fun. Now, there is a passageway right there that you can see sort of off to the left. I'm assuming that's when you've been released. You can walk out through those doors and, I don't know, maybe everybody in the lunchroom bangs their cups for you and then you're out into the world. But I really don't want to do that. In fact, I want to trap myself here purposefully and try to force myself to find my way out of the prison. Now, do I know the way out as of the recording of this video? No, I do not. However, I think I found the method. Now, as you go deeper and deeper down into the prison, my feeling is that everything is kind of channeling you and filtering you all down into one direction. That seems to be the way that it goes. Now, there are a few little unique little crevasses that you can crawl into. You saw one of them at the very beginning of this video, where ultimately once you get in, you can't get out. And that, I think, is just kind of bad design. But one thing that you will notice is that while you're exploring and while you're going, your oxygen level is constantly depleting. And you'll see the little oxygen bottle logo in the bottom of the screen when I go into first person. That is something that depletes the more you exert yourself, obviously. The more you're breathing, the more oxygen you use, and the more you deplete your supply. This isn't like the old version of Star Citizen where you more or less you're walking around with a normal spacesuit on that held incredible amounts of oxygen. Now it depletes very, very quickly. And that, I think, is part of this whole escape mechanic. Is as you get further and further into the mines, deeper and deeper you go, you start to run into these little like power stations or whatnot that recharge the oxygen for your suit. Now, take note of the fact that they don't always appear to be full. So I think that this is kind of the mini game that CIG has set up, is that it's going to take a long journey to get you out of the mine, but you've got to make sure that you have enough oxygen with you to get all the way out. So I think it's kind of designed around the idea that if you just try to sprint as quickly as possible to get out, you're just going to run out of oxygen, and there's no way to, keep all that oxygen. You're going to have to keep your oxygen usage low, and you're going to have to kind of slow boat it out of the prison. In a way, CIG is still kind of keeping you out of the general world population, not the prison population, but out of the world, for a certain amount of time to kind of pay your dues. Either way, they're trying to trap you here for a certain amount of time to save all the other players from your nefarious deeds and whatnot. But you will run into, I at least remember seeing two of them on my way out. And as I'm watching this footage now, I'm noticing that there are certain markers over the tunnels. And there are certain tunnels that are just dead ends, as you can see. Like this one here is a dead end, whereas the tunnels where you continuously proceed have number markers over them. And so the number markers, I think, are kind of telling you you're kind of headed in the right direction. But once again, I have not completed this. I have not finished this. I have only seen the beginning. There you can see the number 8. And generally, as you proceed down the tunnel, you will run into these. And I feel that these are kind of like marking your way down the path. I've looked around and I've tried to find other ways and, little niches or little crevices that may lead to an escape. But unfortunately, like this one here, it just seems to be a step out into the void. And I tried to kind of stick my head in there a little bit to see if I couldn't, when you kind of glitch through a map and you can kind of see in other games, okay, this is the way the tunnel goes, and it gives you an idea of where to go. But I wasn't able to do that, so I just kind of kept proceeding down the tunnel. Where I think that I found the way out, potentially, was far deeper into the mine. So here's where you can see that I'm coming up to one of these oxygen depots and it does not have enough in it. So I try to fill up my suit as best I can, but I am now at a place where I have to even possibly start thinking about going back, right? And so this is where I think that they're trying to teach you to economize your oxygen if you're going to get out. But you kind of have to know your path, I think. Because I did a whole lot of exploring of side tunnels, digging in here and there, trying to find any little kind of hole or little escape route that I could, and so many of them were just dead ends, so I wasted a hell of a lot of oxygen going down here. So I don't know, maybe if you know the exact route out, you could just sprint the whole way through. But I think they want you to play that oxygen economy game. They want you to economize on your oxygen usage. They really want you to think about what you're doing. But as you can see, we're just getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the mine. Now, I don't think that, the reason why I say the oxygen economy game is because beyond a certain point, I don't really think that the entrance or the exit is hidden. In fact, I'm pretty sure that this is where it is. But it quickly transforms into one of the caverns like you would see on Daymar. And this is where I think that CIG wants us to start playing the oxygen economy game. Is that beyond this, there is no infrastructure anymore. There are no oxygen machines. This is where you're going to be kind of running against the artificial timer of running out of oxygen before you get out of, the prison. This is what I think is the game that they're trying to make us play, because truth be told, eventually anyone can make a map to this location, plaster it up on the internet, and anyone can find their way out. I think that the trick that CIG is trying to pull is figuring out how to get you to, kind of game the system and just not jog out. Now, the second ledge here was had stumped me for a long time, and you can see that I'm actually now coming back to it after having tried to find any other way to circle around. And for some reason, you can't just jump right up onto it, but what you can do is you can get up onto these rocks on the other side and kind of vault yourself over. It's just, takes a little practice. And so this is really where I think that CIG is going to kind of make you run the marathon. This is where I think that CIG is going to make you really kind of, be super, super careful about your oxygen usage. I think that in the end, that's the gameplay that they have in mind. At least from what I can see. I want to be able to break out of here, and that's kind of why I've intentionally trapped myself in the mine, is now I want to figure out how to get out. Unfortunately, I'm going to need a little bit of practice with this platforming. It has always been the bane of my existence, and CIG is going to need a little practice making a more stable game experience. So I'm going to go back to trying to find my way out of this maze. and get this video up for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.